This conference will now be recorded.
Perfect. Good morning, guys. So this is our third session on Python fundamentals, basics, and automating stuff with Python. So let's quickly do a recap of what we discussed yesterday and the before day. Okay, we were talking about what is the flow of execution of a function. In this slide, we did a hands-on where you cannot call a function first and then define the function. You first have to define the function and then call the function. Here we have been discussing the theoretical concept of the flow of execution. Bear with me, I'm having a bad throat today. So here what I'm saying is I have explained you the flow of execution. How does the flow of execution works and what is that you have to be aware of. In this particular slide, you must be aware of only you must register one of the important point in your subconscious mind. That is, instead of going to the next statement, the flow jumps to the body of the function, executes all the statements there, and then comes back to pick up from where it left off, which is nothing but this bit. Okay, so this is important in this slide. Before that, we spoke about making your own functions. How can you make your own functions? Okay, why when I say making your own functions, there are two areas of it. Python comes up with user-defined functions, built-in functions. Like that, you can also create your own functions. When you create your own functions, you need to know how you initiate the function, how you start the definition of the function, how you give the function name, after the function name, how you give the colons, and after the colons, how you indentation starts from there. And once the indentation starts, that means the block of code starts. From that block of code, you may have 5 or 6 statements. Your Python will first complete the code of that block and then jumps to the second block. That's very important. Next one is this also very simple. I will explain you how the making your own function works and how you can define your own custom functions by giving a name and sequence of statements in it. This is a hands-on. In this hands-on, we worked on random module, random number generator, and in this random generator also, we converted the int into numbers, numbers into ints. Okay. Now, this is the theory concept of random number generation. If you remember, we have also did this bit in our random sampling, stratified sampling, and train test split. One second, guys. Give me 1 second. Yeah, this is what about the random number generation is. And before that, we were talking about the import statement. This is one of the assignment for one of the hands-on experience for you on how you can get the math module installed. Having told a module is different, in the module you have a function. Likewise, I can say I have a package and then package I input a class or a method. Okay, we did this one also. And then we talked about the math functions and the importance of math functions. What is a dot notation? And in the math function, you can call the methods whichever you want, sub packages, I would say. Next, this is the hands-on experience, hands-on with one of the use case, not use case, one of the fundamentals. So where you are calculating the area of square with who length is one edge, and I explained you the differences between exponents and multiplication here. So type conversions, how can you convert int to string to int, and if you wanted to combine two ints, how would you do, and how you can do that. This one I told you what is int, and what are the built-in functions: length, minimum, maximum, and the when I said length of Python, it counted each alphabet of Python and gave me the number. When I said min of Python, it calculated the minimum of Python and gave me h. When I said max of Python, it calculated y and gave me y. Okay, like that. So here we spoke about functions. What is a function? How a function can be called in Python, and what are the fundamental rules and regulations for a function to have, and the names of the functions and all. Here we discussed about operations. I told you very clearly, you can sum up two ints, you can sum up two strings, but you cannot sum up an int and a string. You have to convert the int into a string and then sum up. That's how Python will work. So this is also you have covered. Types of variables, what is integer, what is float, what is string, and why a string has to be in double quotes, and why a number need not to be double quotes is also explained in this. Next one, calculation. This is one of the hands-on. We have calculated the height and width of one of the formula. So print and get values. If you call a function once you define it, you'll get the output. You can also get the output by saying just print of the function, which we have covered already. And advanced operations in Python. What is a variable? What is a value? How can you assign a value to a variable, and how you can call it whenever you need it. And Pamda, this is all about the flow of your order of operations. When you have additions, multiplication, subtraction, division done in same number, then you'll have to do this way: parenthesis first, pamda, parenthesis, exponent, multiplication, division, addition or subtraction, order of evaluation. That's what it is. So this is what we have been discussing. So now let's jump start into our session, today's session. Okay. Now till here we are all perfect. We understood everything perfectly. If you have any questions, please let me know without any hesitation. If you hesitate to ask questions, then you won't learn much. So I'll give you 1 minute. If you have any questions, please ask me, else I'll start. Time is 5:16. Quickly. Hope everyone is clear on the slides we have covered till date. Okay. So guys, quickly confirm. Are you able to see my screen? Is my voice audible? And are you all clear with till this point? I need a response, please. Everyone? Perfect.
Yes,
Kishore?
sir.
Perfect. Now, let's start with the today's agenda. So, first, what is a parameter and argument? You know about built-in functions. Some of the built-in functions we have seen requires arguments. Yes, they are. For example, when you call a function called math.cos, you pass a number as an argument because you are calculating cos of a theta. What is a theta? For what value are you calculating the cos? Which means that functions would require an argument. Perfect. Makes sense. Like that, if you're not clear about what I'm talking, I completed this one and I'm on this one. Now, like that, similarly, you have another function dot math dot pow. Pow is nothing but power. This power takes two arguments, the base and the exponent, to calculate the exponential of some number. For example, 2 power 2, 2 exponential 2. So as I said earlier, you need 2 double stars 2. So 2 into 2 is 4, like that. Inside the function, the arguments are assigned to variables called parameters. This is very important. There's a difference between a function, there's a difference between an argument, and there is a difference between function, argument, and a value. Function is the function is the definition of the activity you're going to do, and you gave a name to your function. Perfect. There are parentheses in your function, and you define the arguments within that parenthesis, which is called an argument. Now, at times you can assign a value to the arguments, okay, or I can say arguments can be assigned to variables, that is called parameters. Always simply just blind shot, remember, if you have a open parenthesis and closing parenthesis, that is called a function's argument area. Now, whenever you're passing a number to an argument, that has to go to a variable. I repeat, whenever you are going, this is not in the slide, I'm explaining it generally. When I follow slide, I'll highlight it, so do not worry. Whenever you are going to pass a value to any, whenever you're going to pass a number to any of the argument, that number will be stored in the form of a variable in the argument. That's all you need to remember. Now, let's take an example where we have a user-defined function that takes an argument. Okay, whenever I say definition or defining a function, print name value x equal to value, print of value. Let's try this example now. Give me 1 second. I'll erase all the drawings and I will go back to my pointer. Let me share my screen. Where am I? Where is my Jupyter notebook? Here. I'll remove this one. Don't worry. So if you see here, I'm going to define a function. My function name is print underscore name, and I'm giving value. Okay. Here I will say value is equal to data science journey with ANR. For example, I would say just say data science. Let's not waste time. Okay, and then I will say print of value. What happens here? It will just print my name. Okay, now if I say value, sorry, if I say print underscore name, sorry, do you see that? It is a function, it came up. Now, wherever you wanted to call out or assign a value, you need to start creating a variable to get that data into your parenthesis, which is also called arguments. Okay, now here what happens is when I said simply print underscore name, it said, what did it said? It said, boss, it's a function, boss. You have written a function. That's fine. Did it return the value? It didn't return the value. There's a logic because the value is stored within the variable and you have not called out the function and you just called out the function's value is stored in the variable called value. Okay, basically whenever the function is called properly with a block, indentation and return, whenever I call the function, that function should give me the output. The reason why it's not giving the output is it is not a fully enclosed function. We are just trying to understand how you can assign a value to a variable and the variable is linked with the parameters of the function, which is also called arguments. Okay, hope this makes sense to you. Now, what happens here? What happens here? This bit. What happens is this function is assigning the argument to a parameter named value. What is the value? Value is, for example, let me put it this way. Okay, I'll erase all the drawings. Instead of saying data science, erase all the drawings. Let me take the pointer. Now, if I say x equal to value, let's see what happens. I call the statement and I'm calling this one. It's still the same because whenever you are trying to call a value that is assigned with a variable linked with the arguments, you have to be aware that that function will assign the argument to the parameter named value. Whenever the function is called, it assigns the value to x and then prints the value of the parameter, whatever it is. Okay, like that, there is the same rule of composition that apply for built-in functions. These built-in functions will also apply for user-defined functions. Once again, guys, please focus. If you're not clear, ask me then and there because each and every slide is interlinked. We are dealing with one of the important programming tool which is effectively, efficiently used in every company and every client to that matter. If your foundation is strong, you will do well. If your foundation is not strong, you will tend to confuse a lot and make things messy. So I would request you to please kindly focus and concentrate. Now, what I'm trying to do is, what this is the statement I made earlier. I made this statement, right? This one. What is it telling here? It's telling boss, the function is assigning the argument to a parameter named value. Okay. Whenever the function is called, it assigns the value to x and then prints the value of the parameter whatever it is. That's perfectly makes sense. Now, you also have the same rules of compositions that apply to built-in functions also apply to user-defined functions. Means the way built-in function works, I'm sorry, the way built-in function works, the user-defined functions will also apply the same statistical implementation. So we can use any kind of expression as an argument for print underscore name. Okay, for example, if understand the logic here, it's very simple. The rules of composition, that's the rules of composition for a built-in functions will be applied for user-defined functions as well. For that purpose, what I can say is you need to have, you can, for any kind of expression, you can call an argument. So you will get the functions assigned properly and works properly. Okay. Now, let's say I wanted to evaluate what my theory is telling. For that purpose, I'll erase all the drawings and I'll go to the pointer. Now, here I'm calling a function print underscore name. This is already defined function on the one cell up. So in this one, I'm converting my string of math.cos. Again, math.cos I'm calculating for 0. Okay. Now let's see what happens. It returned 1. Now, guys, please focus. This is a different function. Print underscore name is different function. This function which I defined here, I'm calling it here. Point number 1 to be noted. After that, within that function, I'm completely using a different parameters, different arguments to that matter than what is defined here. Okay. For that reason, what I'm trying to tell you is the argument is evaluated before the function is called. Okay. So that is the reason why the string of math.cos of 0 function is evaluated only once. I repeat it. First of all, the math.cos of 0 is 1. that is again converted into string of 1 as printed underscore name. Now, let me try this way. Math dot cos of 0. It's 1. I'm perfect. Now, if I say print underscore name, okay, this is a generalized function, and if I call this one, will it work? 1. Now, this worked, though I have called two different functions. As I told you earlier, math.cos of 0 is default function. This is user defined function for this one. Print underscore name I created now. Okay. So what this print underscore name is nothing, boss. You are just telling this print underscore name will have a value. That value will be assigned to a variable. Kindly please call whatever the value that is stored in the variable x. Now, this is the value, right? As per my understanding. Let me tell you clearly. Do not confuse. This is a function name and this is the value within the parenthesis. Now, this is the value here, right? What am I saying? Whatever it is, print the value for me. So whenever I call the print underscore name, it simply calls this one. So what is this one? Math.cos of 0, which is 1. When I have to say print underscore name, it will call this one. As simple as that. So what are we trying to make out of this statement? We are trying to make that there is a definition called variable. There is a relationship between value assigned to a variable when it is called in an argument. That's all I'm trying to say. Okay. Now, hope you are clear with this one. Let's move on to the next one. Now, let's get some hands-on. Okay. Did you all open the Jupyter notebook? Guys, did you all open the Jupyter notebook? Quickly. Did you all open the Jupyter notebook? Quick.
Yes.
One second, guys. I'm closing my applications in the background. Give me 1 minute. Can you see my screen now? Everyone, can you please open Jupyter notebooks? Quickly. So this is the assignment. Try to understand. You are already started your programming mindset. Now please start thinking practically. Now, here is your assignment. You need to write a function. Function's name is my function, which will take one argument with the name number. Very simple. I'll help you. I'll give you some tips for that. When you are saying write a function with name my function, just say def my underscore function. Perfect. Which takes one argument, which means open parenthesis, closing parenthesis, which would have an argument. That argument number, I'll give the name as number. So def my number, sorry, my underscore function with the parenthesis number and the colon. The indentation starts from there. Now, then inside the function, write these statements. What are the statements? Store the number in a variable xyz. For example, xyz is equal to number. Perfect. Convert it into string and store it in xyz underscore str. Perfect. So number we are not giving it now, we are giving it at the end, but the word number is a variable that is storing a value. So now the step one will store some variable. So you should define the variable name and a value. So the first step will be xyz equal to number. Super. Second step will be xyz underscore xtr is equal to string of xyz. Perfect. And after that, concatenate the word Python workshop to xyz str. For example, if you said xyz is equal to 10, okay, then I should simply say xyz. For example, if I say concatenate Python workshop xyz, I would say uh, xyz of xyz of string plus Python workshop. So when I said print xyz underscore str, it should give me the output. So call your function passing an argument 10. This is the function you need to write. Can you start writing it? Guys, very simple. Don't confuse. Start thinking as a programmer and start doing small things first, and then you'll get confidence and you'll be a good programmer. Very simple. Start writing a dummy function. The function definition starts with def. Function name is my underscore function, and that argument should be a name called number. Done deal, dusted. Move on. Create a variable. The variable name is xyz. It should have a value that is equal to number. So its name is just number. Okay. And after that, xyz underscore str. Convert your number into a string. Super. Again, concatenate your number that is converted into string plus count plus your Python workshop and then call the function. Quickly do it. Yeah, it's 5:35. I'll give you 5 minutes time. I can help you if you are stuck, but I want you to do it. Are you all with me? Have you started doing it? Let me stop the alarm. It's kind of quick. I can help you guys if you want, but please start doing it. If you are stuck, let me know. That is so annoying. Seja, Kishore, Kavi, Ram, start doing it. If you are stuck, I can help. It's very simple. We did that already. Whoever writes first, just just print it here. Just send it in the comment section. Guys, done? Is it done? Everyone, quick. It's 5:39, one more minute left. It's 2 minutes work, but that's fine. Uh, Guys, are you comfortable? You need any help? Kavi is having a problem with Jupyter. That's fine. Srija, how is it going?
Yeah, I'm doing one more minute.
Okay, 1 second. Print def my function number super xyz equal to number xy distinguishing of number perfect. Python workshop. That's perfect. That's perfect. You just did one small mistake. I'll correct that. Minu, I'm talking about yours. You did it perfectly. It's good. But the Python workshop plus xyz underscore str must be stored in a variable. If you see here, what my requirement is telling is first convert it into an str and store it in xyz underscore str. Now concatenate the Python workshop to xyz underscore str. Okay, exactly. No. XYZ in interformer. No. See, can you see my screen, everyone? Okay, I'll show you. I'll show you what I mean. You did well. Just one small warning it would get, but that's fine. Okay. Now you wrote this menu, which is perfect, but instead what you need to do is you just have to say xyz underscore str is equal to xyz underscore str plus Python workshop and then print xyz of str. Now if I say my underscore function of 10, let's see what happens. 1 second. Xyz is equal to number, not here. Indentation error, no problem. It should go here. This should go here. This should go here. This is print statement. Okay. Now again indentation error. Sorry guys. This should go here. Now it's perfect. Run. Now if I say my underscore function of 10 Python workshop 10. Okay, that's what it is. You got the desired result. The only correction is you need to store this value into a variable xvet underscore str. That's what it is. Okay, perfect. Good job, Minu. Good job. Srija, hope you got the point right. Perfect. Now let's move on to the next bit. Here, what are all the different types of functions you'll come across? Okay, so the first one is functions like the one you defined in the last exercise. Perform an action but don't return a value. Okay, what you did here, you performed an action but you didn't return a value. Okay, but here I called the function and I asked to return the value. Now you need to know within the function whenever you are asking to run the function and get a value, and if you're running a function and not getting a value and you wanted to run that function with using some other parenthesis, there are two different approaches you need to make. That is what you must be aware of. Now, I'm here. I just finished this one. Functions like the one you defined in the last exercise, performing an action but not returning a value. They are also called void functions. You almost always want to do something with the result. Okay? Now, whenever you want to do something for the result, all you need to do is, for example, you assign it to a variable or use it as a part of an expression. Okay? Take this one, for example. Here I'm having a function void underscore function and a parenthesis. I'm going to give a parameter as a number. When I say num equal to number and I say print number, let me see what will happen with that. I'll show you what I mean by this function also, because if your foundation is strong and if you understand the concept perfectly, you will tend to get more things. 1 minute guys, erase all the drawings, take the pointer. Now, here what happens is I'll create a function def void underscore function name, and in this function I'm giving a parameter or an argument number. The block starts and I'll say num equal to number and I'll say print of num. Now it doesn't give you anything. Now if I say number equal to 10, if I run this one, it doesn't make any sense to me. Now rather if I say void underscore function of 10, it gave me 10. Now try to understand the basic. In this function, you call the function, but you didn't derive any result. This function derived me a result provided I gave a number 10 as a value passed to the argument. Okay, now this way you need to understand that void functions might display something on the screen or have something on other effect. Now, in this example, it knows what it has to do, but on which number it has to do, it's not aware of it, which means it displays something or it has some effect on the values it is gonna do. Perfect. But they don't have a written value at times. If you try to assign the result to a variable, you get a special value called none. Okay? Now, let me explain that one also. Let me erase all the drawings. Let me take a pointer. Now, if I say print, and in the print I'm saying type of none. The reason why I'm saying none is, I'll tell you in 1 minute. None. If I say print type of none, it is saying class as non-type. Okay. Now let's jump back to our slide. In this slide, what I'm saying is, I am highlighting this point. This point explains void functions might display something on the screen or it may have some or other effect, but they don't have a written value. Perfect. These are the void functions. Always remember, the void functions will not return, but they don't have a return value. This is very important. Now, if you try to assign a result to a variable, you'll get a special value called none. That is a void function's important criteria. Now, the value none is not the same as a string none. It is a special value that has its own type. Now, for that reason, I have run print type of none. It said, boss, I'm a class of non-type, none type. Now, some of the functions such as math functions return certain results. Yes, that's true. Some of the functions will return a math. Some of the functions, including math functions, will return certain value. Now, if somebody asks you what is a void function, straight away tell them, boss, void functions don't have a written value. In the void functions, if you assign a value to a variable also, it will throw an output as none. When it says none, it is nothing but a class of none type. That's all you need to understand in this slide. Are you clear on this point, everyone? Erase all the drawings. Go back to the pointer. Now, let's go to 25. Now, this is 24. We are done. This is 25. Again, hands-on for you. Here, what I'm asking you to do is understand the requirement correctly. It's very easy. It will give you a lot of confidence if you do it by yourself. If you're stuck also, please feel free to ask for help and complete it. Now, first thing is define a function with the name new underscore function. Okay, so def new underscore function. You got that perfectly. Now, in this function, it takes an argument number and returns a multiplication with pi. Okay, makes sense. Again, define a void function with the name void underscore function, which takes two arguments, number one and number two. Now, the first one is first function and second one is second function. First function name is new underscore function, and that returns the multiplication with pi. Second one is again new function, which will have again void underscore function, which takes two parameters, num1 and num2, provided which makes a call to new function with the argument as number 1 raised to power of number 2. Okay, observe carefully. Now, this void function, which is function number 2, is calling a new function, whereas the new function will have an argument number 1 raised to power of number 2. I just told a few minutes back, the power functionality in Python is taken care by math.pow. Perfect. Now, like that, within the void functions, print the value returned by the call. Okay. In the new cell, call the void function with argument 4.6 and 7.3. In the new cell, call the void function with argument 4.6, 7.3. Because your void function will take two variables or two parameters. That parameter should be given a value. The first value is 4.6, second value is 7.3. We need to test it. How fast can you do it, or you want me to help it? You want me to help you? Very simple. Once again, understand the basics properly. You are importing a math module. You are writing one function, and that function will return a multiplication of pi. Very simple, which is nothing but return num into math.py. Simple. Or I will show this one for you, because let's finish the concepts faster. But you can go to the recording again and practice it. Hope the question is clear to everyone. Is the question clear to everyone? Is the requirement clear, guys? I'm asking you. Yeah, perfect. Now let me go ahead and do that. Let me quickly understand. Defining a function, defining a void function, within the void function, printing the value, and then calling the new cell. Perfect. Now I'll import math module. Import math. Done and dusted. First step is done. And my function name is my underscore function, and it should have argument as number. Done. And this will have indentation starts from here and return statement. Let me understand the question again. What is the return function? Return function says it's multiplication with pi. Its multiplication with pi means the number multiplication with pi. So what I would do is num star math.py. So this block is completed with this one when I said return. Now I need to define a void function with name void underscore function, which says def void underscore function, and this will take two parameters, that is num1 comma num2. Understandable. Okay, again what happens is with arguments num1 and num2, which makes a call to new function with argument num1 raised to the power of num2. So what I have to do is here I have to call my earlier function, which is my function, and in this my function the parameter should be number1 raised to the power of number2. So what I can say is parenthesis open math.power, and this will be implemented on number1 comma number. Let me check all the closing brackets and parentheses. I have 3 here. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. This is done. Now let me run this one. Perfect. Now if I say void underscore function and I give 4.6 comma 7.3. Do you get that? You got the value. So this is the way you need to start thinking and start writing the programs wherein you can call one function. You can call one function within the other functions. Okay, are you clear with this requirement? Everyone happy? Any questions on this one? Quickly, if you have any questions, let me know. Okay, cool. I understand that everybody is happy. Let's move on next requirement. Input from user. Okay, guys, this is also categorically very important, because at times user need to give inputs. Only then uh, till that time it will have till that time it will have the result, stores the logic, and once the user input is given, it applies that logic on the input of the user. Now let me show you something. Let's complete this slide also. If you want to take the value for a variable from the user via the keyboard, Python provides a built-in function called as input that gets input from the keyboard. Very simple, don't get confused. If you wanted to take the value for a variable from the user via their keyboard, Python provides a built-in function called input that gets the input from the keyboard. Super. Now, when this function is called, the program stops and waits for the user to type something. Makes sense. When the user presses return or enter, the program resumes and input returns what the user typed as a string. This is very important. Whenever you typed something and set the enter or return, from that point the program resumes and it takes the input you have given in the form of a string. Perfect. Now, which is nothing but input equal to inp equal to input of. Now, it's a good thing to display the user to enter what you want before taking the input. Now, when I say name is equal to input of what is data size journey with ANR / new line, it says the sequence at end of the prompt. Bear with me, guys. I'm sorry. The sequence at the end of the prompt represents a new line, which is special character that causes a line break. That's why user's input appears below the prompt. Very good. Let me show you practically. If you expect the user to type an integer, you can try to convert the return value to int by using an int function. This also we have discussed last time. Now, question here is, what is 2 multiplied by 3? Okay. When I say that, answer is input of question, print int of answer. So whatever you give input, that will be your multiplication of 2. Now, input something other than a string of digits and observe the error you get. we'll learn how to handle these errors in the exception handling and error detection of Python. Okay, so this is all about how you can get the inputs. Now let's go and do some good work on this one. In this slide, all you need to understand is how a user can input a value to a function, so the function can take the value and give the result. What is that you must be aware of? The only point you must be aware of here is you need to have a variable name and your value should be stored in that variable, provided you need to tell to the Python that it is going to be an input from the keyboard. That's all I can say.
It's 6 hours.
Let me do an exercise for you now. Erase all the noise, go to the pointer, take this one. Now define a function with the name input underscore name that displays a prompt, what are you studying? I repeat, don't get confused. First, you are going to define a function. That function will have a name input underscore name that will display the prompt, what are you studying? Now after that, within the function, take an input from the user and return it. Now in the new cell, call the function, input the Python after the prompt, and it should say that I am studying Python. Very simple, boss. You are going to create a definition of function from the def. Your function name will be input underscore name with parenthesis, colon. The indentation starts. The return should have an input of what am I studying. Okay, and again you are going to say subject equal to input underscore name. Okay, in the next thing I am saying print equal to subject. It should say I'm studying Python. That's what it is. Okay, let me do this one exercise for you. Thinking practically. So let me understand it again. Define a function name input underscore name. Okay, so very simple. Def input underscore name. Okay, once this is done, parenthesis and then indentation. Here you have a return. Let me recheck my slide once again. Displays a prompt, what are you studying? What am I studying? So return will be an input value. So simply I would say input. Okay, perfect. Again in the input I'll say what am I studying, which is the string. What am I studying? This is done, and after this I'll say subject is equal to input name. Okay, now let me run this program. What am I studying? Now what happens is, this is what it is. Now guys, observe carefully. Till here I have done perfectly. I have did this one, I have did this one. Now in the new cell, call the function input Python after the prompt. Okay, if I say one second guys, give me 1 minute. I'll erase all the noise. I'll take the pointer. So here what I'm saying is input underscore name input underscore name is my function name, and I'll say Python. Okay, so it should actually give me Python. Okay, 1 minute. Did I confuse something? Yeah, sorry. I should give it here. Understand the requirement correctly. What I'm saying is in the new cell, call the function, type Python after the prompt. So this is the prompt. I'm saying Python, which has taken my input. Now um, if I say print of subject, or if I run this again, let me show you. I'll say input underscore name. 1 second, guys. I did some mistake. Give me 1 second. Let me read it again. I defined a function perfectly, and then the function takes an input. Perfect. In the new cell, call the function input Python after the prompt. Perfect. Store the return value in the variable subject. Print the subject. Okay. So 1 second. I got it. The mistake what I did is I have not given the new line character here. I have to give a new line character, which is nothing but hyphen n. Now let's do this one. Let me restart the kernel. Hope you guys are enjoying this because it's completely we are doing the practicals and doing it. We understanding the concept and then we are doing the practicals. The kernel is restarted. Let me try now. Now this works perfectly. If I say Python, then what happens is I said enter. It has simply taken the value. Okay. So from this, what we understand is if I say print of subject, I got Python. You got what I'm saying, right? So this is how, guys, I want to highlight you the mistake I made. What the mistake I made is I didn't use this /n. When I use /n, it will take your new line character into consideration. Whenever I say Python, that is the subject input name which will return it. So whenever I said print underscore subject, print of subject, it gave me Python. What am I studying is a question, and that question, the answer is your word Python, which is an input character given through a keyboard, user given input, and it returned an output by whenever I call the subject. That's what it is. Simple as it explains. Happy to clear point till this point. Any questions, guys? Now, this is other important thing. Commenting section. 1 second. Now, commenting section also very important. This comment section nothing but Minu has a different way of writing code. I have a different way of writing code. Every time we say something, we mean it. So for long programs, you prefer to add comments to your code so that you or anyone can understand the purpose of what you have coded. Now, it is often difficult to look at the piece of code and figure out what it is doing or why. For this reason, it is good to add notes to your program to explain in natural language what a program is doing. These notes are called as comments. And in Python, you write it with the symbol, asterisk symbol. Asterisk symbol is this symbol, this one. Let me show you that. this symbol. Now, look at my code, calculating my age. Current age is 2018. Now, this is my comments because I want everybody in my team to understand what I'm trying to do here. My current age is 2018. My year of birth is 1990, and age is nothing but current year minus year of birth, and we'll print the age. It says 28. Okay, 9 like this. Everything from the asterisk to the end of the line is ignored. It has no effect on the program. Super. We understood that. Now, good variable names can reduce the need for comments, but long names make complex expression hard to read. So there's a trade-off. Understand the difference? This very complex statement. Good variable names can reduce the need for comments, but long names can make the complex expressions hard to read. So there's a trade-off. What would you do in this kind of situations? What happens is, as long as you follow the simple rules of variable naming and avoid the reserved words, you have lot of choices when you name your variables. I repeat, as long as you follow the simple rules of variable naming and avoid the reserved words, you have a lot of choices where you can name your variables. Perfect. Makes sense to us. We have completed this slide. So this is very easy, simple, straightforward. Now, let's move on to next slide. Boolean expressions. Now, you all know what is Boolean expressions is, but let's recap because we are dealing with Python, so we need to know everything, how Python takes it, how Python works with it, and how you give inputs to Python. A Boolean expression is either true or false. The following example uses the operator equal to. In Python, when I say equal to, it's not one equal, it's double equal to, which compares two operands and produces true if they are true and false if they are false. For example, if I say 1 equal to 1, that's true. If I say 2 equal to 1, it's false. Like this, true and false are special values that belong to a class bool. Okay, now let me show you that. Will this work, guys? Will this work? Everyone, will this work? Let me show you. It won't work because the T should be uppercase. Now, if I say true T as uppercase, it will work. Do you see this? Class Boolean. So, whenever you say true or false, Python very well know this bugger is asking me to deal with a class called Boolean class. That's the smartness of Python. Now, how can you understand or what you must be aware of? The double equal to operator is one of the comparison operator. Like that, there are many other operators. X not equal to y, x greater than y, x less than y, x is greater than or equal to y, x is less than or equal to y, x is same as y, x is not same as y. Now, in this process, you must be aware of avoid the mistake of using a single equal to cell instead of double equal to sign. I repeat, avoid the mistake of using a single equal to sign instead of double equal to sign. Perfect. Because double equal to sign is an assignment operator, single equal to is an assignment operator, and double equal to is a comparison operator. Please be aware of this. Double equal to is an assignment operator, and sorry, single equal to is an assignment operator, and double equal to is a comparison operator. Now, there is no such thing as greater than or equal to or less than or equal to. But when I say greater than or equal to or less than or equal to, it means you should give x or y, x greater than or equal to y, x is greater than or equal to y, or x is less than or equal to y. If you don't say x and y, and if you simply use less than or equal to, that doesn't work. On top of it, always remember your this symbol should come first, not equal to. While we are dealing with x greater than or equal to, the greater came first and then equal to came. When we are talking about less than or equal to, less than came first, equal to came. If you see here, there is no such word as equal to. Means never use equal to followed by greater than or less than. That is what it is. Hope you are clear with this slide. Slowly we are finishing the fundamentals of Python, and then we'll jump into the complex functions, numpys, pandas, and skykit. Now, erase all the drawings. Erase all the drawings. 1 minute, guys. Let me take the pointer. Now, again, another use case. Guys, can I stop here? We started at 5:15. I'll finish by 6:15 because I wanted to make Python videos as short as possible, because people who have not completed this, who have not attended the session, when they wanted to come back and watch, the 1 hour session will be quite easier, and they feel comfortable to complete the workshop. So I don't want to make longer videos on Python. We'll go slowly, and I request you guys also, please go ahead and watch it again and come back to me if you have any questions. One more thing, please spend some time on memorizing the slides. Try to establish the relationship between first class, second class, and today's third class. Tomorrow, however, before starting the class, the first 10 minutes, I'll recap everything. Recapping will help every one of us, so kindly please spend some time on it. That's all I have for today. Before I wind up, I want to check if you have any questions. Please feel free to ask me now. I started 5:15, so I thought 1 hour session should be fine.
Can we have any websites where we could practice these functions more? I mean, if I want to practice more on functions, is there any particular website I should go and practice more?
Just check in python.org. The python.org has got many functions. And one more
Okay.
thing, I wanted you to look at this one, Automating Boring Stuff with Python. An awesome book, actually. Initially, when I started learning Python, this is the book which made my life easy. This guy also have a PDF version of it, and this guy also have a word as a website also. Now, if you go here, he has so well organized the contents: introduction, Python basics, flow control, functions, list, dictionaries. Let me quickly go back. Dictionaries, manipulating strings, pattern matching, reading and writing files, organizing files, debugging. Now, for you to do these things, initially you need to know at least how Python works, what is a Python function, how we define a function. Without knowing fundamentals, if you jump into it, you are like roaming or running without a target. So once we finish this one, I would request everyone to go and understand these concepts. Read this one, you'll get an awesome, trust me, you will be one of the best Python developer if you complete this one. I have personally completed this book, and I have documented everything till half of it, and later I couldn't document, but I know each and everything how this works. So I would request you to go and understand here, or just go to functions, and in the functions here I explained, you see the normal function, and then he'll tell you how you define the function's parameters and how the return statement works in parameters. And if you see here, he has imported a random statement like what we did, and here he used a random number 1 of 9. We already did that. The none value, I showed the none class and non-none class for you. Keyword arguments and print. So it's a long process. If you start reading this book, what happens is you will get carried away and you won't be in a position to finish the Python and data science. So keep this book in your repository or in your URLs. Once you finish Python workshop or once you finish the complete Python course, whenever you get time, for one day, pick one activity and start doing it. Other day, 10 minutes on other activity. Other activity means other code. Start developing the code like that, then it will be easy for you. So, a nutshell, my straight answer to your question is this is the best book where you can practice Python. Automating boring stuff.
Okay.
Anything else, guys? Any other questions you have?
Can you please send the slides to our Slack, please?
Okay, guys, I have other news for you. Thanks, Minu, for asking me. Tomorrow, first thing, I'm gonna show you GitHub, Git pull, Git fork, Git repo, and what I can say, Git update. That way, what happens is, whatever I update on my slides, you can just get it using Git pull. You did not have to worry about downloading every time. Each and every time you download, it downloads as classification 01, 02, 03 like that. Tomorrow, first thing I'm going to show you that. So tomorrow, please, let's start by 5 o'clock. By 5 to 5:15, we'll complete the Python, and then, sorry, from 5 to 5:15, we'll complete the GitHub, Git repo and all. However, I can send you right now. Give me 1 minute. Tomorrow, I'll show you that. I'll show you how you can do that. Where have I stored it? It should be in desktop. It should be in data science training. And in data science training, I have Python for data science here. Okay. Any other questions, guys? Any other questions you have for today?
No.
Perfect. Have a great day. Enjoy your work. I'll see you all tomorrow. Tomorrow, first 15 minutes, we'll understand how the GitHub works. GitHub, Git repo, Git pull, Git update, and Git fork. So whatever I update on my machine here, you will be able to get everything onto your machines by just saying Git pull. Okay. Thank you. See you all tomorrow. Bye bye. I'll upload the video in next 5 minutes.